So now we're on Daf Yud Gimel Mid Beis. Chayos Eish Memalos. So these are certain kinds of beings that when they open their mouths and they speak, fire comes out of their dibur. However, we have another explanation, Masnisa Tonin Abraisa, that the word chashmal is really a hybrid, a combination of two words, chash and mal. What does this mean? That the chayos are itim chashos, the itim memalos. Chashos means they're silent, and memalos means they're well spoken for. They speak a lot. B'shash hadiber yotzim pikodesh baruch hu chashos. When the dibur of Hashem comes out, then chashos. They are shoskos. Ub'shash ein hadiber yotzim pikodesh baruch hu memalos. They are mishabchos u'mahalos os. Now the Gemara is going to darshan some of the psukim in the Maros Hamerkov of Yechezkel. It says in the first parak, "V'achayos rotzo v'shov imara habazak." The Chayos HaKodesh, they take their heads out and place it inside the rakia that's above their heads. They stretch their heads out above the line of their heads into the place that's the rakia, and then they immediately bring their heads back and re-enter, so to speak, because of the tremendous fear of the Shekhinah. So Gemara asks, "My ratzov v'shav k'mara bazak." What is this mehirus, this urgency and the speed of a bazak, like a lightning speed? And the chayos go out and come back within that mara bazak. Of Rabbi Yehuda, you know what mehirus habazak is? Is kmo ur hayotze mipi akivcha, like a flame that shoots off from a hot furnace and immediately goes back in, it dies back down. And it's called bazak because bazak means davar kasus. Halav hayotze mibein avonim aksusos shebetocha kivshon. So davar kasus means apparently that the walls of the oven, of the furnace, which are made of stones, they are totally, shall I say, condensed or smashed together. And that's called kasus. And somehow the flame shoots between these stones. What does it mean, kimara bazak? That the chayos, when they go out and they come in, they look like mara bazak. Omar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, ke'or hayotze mibein hacharos. So Rabbi Yossi tells us what is mara bazak. It's like the flame that comes from the holes in a perforated piece of pottery, a kli cheres, earthenware, in which they do what's called zikuk zahav. That's where they refine the gold and remove its impurities in a perforated flower pot, so to speak, a kli cheres. Now the lav itself, this flame, is made up of many different hues, different colors, and it's called bazak because the word bazak means davar kosus. Acharosim shebetochan haymenichem es hazav einam kitus. Now, in the psukim of Merkava v'Yechezkel, it says, "Va'era," I saw, "V'hine ruach si'ora b'minat safon." We have a stormy wind that comes from the north. Anan gadol, a gigantic cloud, v'esh mislakachas, and a flame is going up into smoke. V'nogalo saviv, and there's light all around. Umitocha, and from the inside of this cloud, you could see ke'ena chashmal mitocha eish. The ruach si'ara that Yechezkel saw is a merkava or kisei kavod. And what is the significance of this ruach sa'ara, this very, very heavy, almost hurricane, tornado? Is sheba b'kas lahashkus es Yisrael chas v'sholom. It symbolized the fact that the Jews have overstepped all their bounds and they deserve to be destroyed. So the Gemara asks, Ulehechan Azal, where did that Ruach Siora end up? We know it came from Bavel. And the Gemara answers, Amar Rav Yehuda Marav, Shaholach, it went from that point L'chol ruchos hashamayim, lichbosh es kol ha'olam kulo tachas Nebuchadnezzar rosh. So it seems like it was part of a divine plan that Nebuchadnezzar would rule over the entire earth. Why? Shelo yomru umos ha'olam, that the nations of the world should not declare biyad uma shfola masar HaKadosh Baruch Hu es bana. Meaning, after the nations will be subjugated by Klal Yisrael, is liachar Yisrael yivnu taku biyad uma shfola bavel masar HaKadosh Baruch Hu es banav. So before he gave the control, the dominion over the entire world to the Malchus of Bavel, now the Malchus of Bavel is no longer, cannot be classified as an Uma Shfela, and that's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to the hands of Israel the Uma Shfela. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu mi garam li sheyeh shamash li ovdei psilim. Ovdei psilim, here's a reference to Nebuchadnezzar, that I had to be mashlit the entire world, tachtov, it's avonoseim shel Yisrael heim garmu. It's because of the averes of Klal Yisrael, they had to go out into Golus. So let me go back once again. Shelo yomru umos ha'olam. After Klal Yisrael would be subjugated, then the nations of the world would say, hey, this great people of Israel, look how low they are. They are being controlled and subjugated by an Uma Shfola, by Bavel. So therefore, in order to avoid this shiflus, is beforehand, Hitchlit it's called Olam Tachas Malchus Bavel. First, the entire world will be subjugated and dominated by Bavel, so they can no longer embarrass the Jewish people by saying that they went into the Uma Shvela. It's not an Uma Shvela at all because Babel now conquered the entire world. So all this, meaning that the divine being saw to it that Babel, Nebuchadnezzar, would control and dominate over the entire world, was all done in order to avoid the busha of Klal Yisrael, because the Ummah Soul would say, hey, who's this Babel? They're an Ummah Shvela, and that's where Klal Yisrael are. In Mara, Merkava Shal Yechezkel, Va'era Hachayos, Behine, Ofen, one Malach, Echad, Va'oretz, Eitzel Hachayos. Omer Abelaz, what does this mean? How is it possible that the Ofen would be on the ground and at the same time it's near the Chayos? Eitzel Hachayos. It can't be, the Chayos are so high up. But rather, Malach Echad, Shu Omeid Ba'aretz, there's one angel that stands on the ground. Rosho Magia Eitzel Hachayos. And the head of this Malach, whose feet are planted in the Ritzvas HaKarka, reaches the Chayos. Masnisa Tona, we learned in the Brisa, Sandalafon Shamo. Okay, there's a Malach, an Ofen by the name of Sandalafon. Shmo, that's his name. Hagavoa mechavero Malach HaMishmel Shana. He is higher up than, I don't know, here it says Chavero. Chavero, it should be. Okay, Baruch Shekivanti. And he's higher than his Chaverim by 500 years. I mean, a distance that would take to walk in 500 years. The Omed Achore HaMerkava V'Kosher Ksarim Lakona. And he stands beyond the Merkava. He's tying Ksarim. What's a keser in English? A crown, I think, right? He's tying crowns for his creator because of the tefillah of tzaddikim. So Gemara's Einei, is it really so that the Malach is standing Achorei HaMerkava and he's tying crowns for his maker, for his creator? V'aksiv, it says in Yechezkel, V'tisaini ruach v'ashmak rei kol rash gadol baruch kvod Hashem bimkomo. And it says, Kvod Hashem bimkomo, not bimkomo, but mimkomo, michlal, dimakomo, leka, the other way. The makom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nobody knows it. So how can you tell me in this Brisa that there's a malach who stands on the other side of the Merkava? He's kosher ksarim lakono. The Gemara answers, the Omar Shem Atoga. This is the holiest name of Hashem, the Shem HaMaforash. And he recites the Shem HaMaforash on top of the crown, V'azil, and the crown goes V'yasib Bereshe. And he sits on his head. On what head? Holech V'yoshev is unbelievable. Berosho Shal HaKadosh Baruch. Again, all this is Aviyachim. Okay, then, so this is where we'll stop, even though we're only halfway through this Amud. But again, when it comes to Haggadah, it's just impossible, especially when you learn about Ma'aseh Merkava. Now, tomorrow, I am on my way to Brooklyn at around 7:30 in the morning, so I don't see how I can make it. So I think, Rabbi Rhodes, I'm going to try to do this daf tomorrow, Yudalit on my own, and then we'll get together, Mirza Hashem, on Thursday.
Not a problem.
Okay, then? All right,
Perfect.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just trying to juggle it, as much as I can.